Hey guys, welcome to episode 166 of 4PlayerAnimecast. Probably the last episode of the Winter 2021 season, and it is part 5. Yes. We are also coming up to, I guess, the some of the bigger. I mean, obviously we try to pace our podcast so we cover some of the more shallow, or not shallow, but episodic stuff at the beginning part of the winter review series or anime review series, and sort of the more involved, the types of anime that need more watching, more episodes. Although, as longtime viewers of this podcast, viewers and listeners of this podcast know, we're not a big fan of you got to evaluate, you got to watch 3 episodes to really evaluate. But there are some series that, require more episodes to flesh out their story, right? So we try to leave those at the end, and we're probably going to cover a couple of those this time around. But yeah, anyways, I am your host, Spire, and here are my compatriots, Near,
Hello.
Dark,
Hi.
and Toast.
Konban Moon.
But yeah, so everybody is here and ready for part 5. We do say winter, but it's already after the sudden winter storm. We've gone pretty much into a pretty busty warm spring, so that's that.
I wish.
Anyways, Near, how have you been these past 2 weeks?
Pretty good. I resubbed to Final Fantasy 14.
God, that fucking
Yeah.
that pitfall, huh?
So, I've been having fun.
Near. Did you get into the tourney?
No.
Why not?
I don't care right now.
But it's easy.
I mean, yeah, it is, but like, if I'm booting up Shadowverse lately, it's to like grind out a couple like master points, and that's it.
You know,
Wait, you're not? Are you not Grandmaster already?
No.
What? I got it in a week.
Yeah, I don't play that
Yeah,
much.
this
Dude.
guy
Like I don't
waits
play
until
for like
the
7
day
hours all
before it's
day.
over.
The
Yeah.
thing is, Grandmaster grind is ultimately a matter of time rather than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also why I never got. I was like, no, I don't think so. Sorry.
All you got to do is just play one deck, and I mean that's how I got it. It's easy. Just play
Yeah.
aggro.
Except sometimes the meta isn't quite just like, oh, just play one deck forehead. But anyway. Yeah, I haven't really been playing very much Shadowverse. It's fucking bad for my health.
By the way, I would have.
Hey,
This
right
is
now.
a small tangent. But so one of the things I really value, and it's like a stupid thing, but the thing I'm about to talk about is stupid in general. But in like gacha games, for instance, right? One of the things I really value is how the aesthetics of the gacha screen and the BGM and everything, right? Because if I'm opening the gacha, I want it to be cool, right? Like that's part of why I stuck with, say, like Dead Stay, and a lot of the like idle games have really good sort of aesthetics, right? Because that's I'm gonna be at the gacha screen, so fucking give me a good gacha. But I would have asked Nier to join Horse Girls with me, also known as Uma Musume, pretty derby, right? Which came out recently. But the moment I looked at the gacha screen, I was like, "This sucks." Like the gacha screen's aesthetics is literally like,
Yeah,
the horse comes out of the stall, and I'm like, "What? No!" Like,
It looks just like Precone. What are you talking about?
No, Precone is what the. Oh,
I mean,
no,
the only
Precone,
thing it shares in common with
Precone.
Precone is the door opening.
No, Precone, it has a good fucking gacha, like the movie and everything, like the person like bursting through and putting on the thing. It's like it has a rainbow. No, Uma Musume is fucking gacha aesthetics suck. It's actually bad.
That's because if you get the president running towards the door, then it's a guaranteed SSR. Anyone else, it's not even worth looking at.
Yeah, and the BGM is pretty good too, but it's like Uma Musume.
The actual like when you get an SSR and it plays like the special cinematic for Uma Musume, it's pretty nice. But
yeah,
like just the generic like gacha roll, it's kind of boring.
Yeah,
but,
and it's like and the BGM.
Wow, you don't like them running out of the stable or the gate?
But I mean,
They're
that's
horse
not
girls. Of
really-
course they run out.
I'm not that but yeah, it's like what frustrates me is that sorry for jumping on a tangent here, but what frustrates me is that they worked on this and they delayed this for so long, and
Yeah.
this is all. Come on, man! Like, give me my horse. Like, I'm literally willing to go jump into this gotcha game and pull other people along with it, but you guys won't give me the aesthetics. Like, come
They
on, man.
spent all the time on the cutscenes, dude.
Yeah, bro. And
Was-
the
was-
opening movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, anything else near?
Not really.
How
Um,
Canada's
I-
weather? I heard the Niagara Falls are leaking.
what does that mean?
They're falling.
Yeah, that's what a waterfall does. But yeah, it's been cold as shit, and I hate it. It sucks. But yeah, other than that, my good pal, my good friend, Dark, gifted me Neo 2.
Congrats.
I've been playing that. That's been pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pretty
he
cool
still
game.
hasn't co-opted with me. It's really neat.
Yeah, I like playing solo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it for me.
Okay, pretty good. Dark.
My past 2 weeks have been pretty okay anime-wise. I've caught up with most things. I started and caught up with Skate after Nier brought it up on last podcast, and that show is like probably one of my favorite this season.
It's pretty good.
Really good. So check that show out. I also took the dive and resubbed to FF14 because I was getting free time, or gave me free time, and then was like, yeah, but you also can't do anything on the Mog station for the like cosmetic items if you have this. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll resub, and I did.
By the way, all this for FF14 talk reminds me. Do you guys think I should get into old school RuneScape
No,
again?
Well,
No.
unless you're doing it to make money, then no. Like
Unless-
actual RNC, then no.
Unless like the gameplay of like chopping down trees and fishing like 17 hours
clicking
out of
on
the day,
clicking on trees for like 24 hours.
Yeah. unless you find that truly riveting, I would say stay the hell away from old school.
I mean, you know, it's the whole. It's so weird because you always think like the older, especially like the like Asian MMOs and stuff like that, where all you're doing is just like clicking for that 1%. You're like, you think it's gonna go well, and then you play. You're like, for the first 10 minutes, you're like, oh damn, this clicking is what I wanted, and then like
and then you
2
do
hours in,
it-
you're like, should I be doing this with my life?
yeah.
Fuck. Anyways,
bro,
anything
this
else?
dude's serious. Okay, so speaking of FF14, by the way, wiped twice the very first pull of Aurum Vale, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, that's why I passed on that
Yeah.
roulette.
Fucking awesome. And now I got a guy complaining that we're not letting the seedlings hatch because it's more enemies and thus more EXP. It's like fucking 6,000 EXP when I need 4.4 million to get a single level. Whoa. Anyway. Other than that, you know, anime's been good,
Okay,
I guess.
pretty good. Anime's been
what-
okay.
Yeah, you know, watched a little something something for this week, you know, the greatest anime ever made. So stay tuned for that.
Toast.
Hello. Sakuramigo got a new outfit. That was cool. Also, I'm currently watching this VTuber Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle Tournament.
Okay.
VTubers only, but it's open to non-VTubers as long as you. What?
As long as you're an influencer, I'm guessing.
Oh, open to non-VTubers too, with a special prize for top placing VTuber. What does that even mean?
It means the tournament doesn't matter.
Oh, it's just a tournament, but whichever like if all the VTubers get knocked out, then whoever plays highest in the tournament, I guess, just gets whatever. So I guess it's just then what the fuck is the point of letting other people in?
What else? Azur Lane Slow Ahead episode 8 came out, and it's the Honolulu episode. It was fantastic. Yeah, pretty good episode. The end card was drawn by the famous Asanagi, who you all know as is one of the greatest artists in the world for their contribution to Orc AU Monogatari, which is basically Orc Berserk. That's an LN. I need translations on that.
Come on. Well, there was an interesting discussion in our Discord a couple of days ago, right? And it was not a discussion, but it was something that brought up, and it's like somebody was like fan no hitori, right?
Was it you? What's wrong?
No, it
that
was
guy's
not.
pretty cool.
Why the fuck would I bring it up? Fan no
You just
hitori.
did.
No, as in like, oh my god, Toes, please listen to what I'm saying. Somebody brought it up in the Discord, and they were like,
I don't ever know.
Fan no Hitori was like the same level as Asanagi. Would you agree with that? I don't think I would agree with that, right?
In what like are we talking about the recent dojins or what
I guess overall, right?
or the overall content?
Yeah. So what I want to clarify. So Asanagi and Fan no Hitori are both relatively famous dojin slash edo or edo manga artists in their own right, and both kind of draw non-vanilla stuff. So, for instance, Asanagi obviously draws a lot of mind break, rape, stuff like that, and Fan no Hitori draws a lot of, draws mind break, but he's a lot more into like tentacle stuff, right? Toast or something like that. But would you say they're on the same level?
Not tentacles. Have you? It's
What do
right
you mean?
Right now they're both doing isekai, and that's a good one.
I mean, yeah, it's yeah, but
I wouldn't call Fan no Hitori a or Asanagi tentacle specialist. That's you're thinking of someone else.
No, Fan no Hitori isn't a tentacle specialist, but he likes just kind of sticking it in there. I don't think Asanagi does that.
I think you're talking about what is it? What's the good way to put this? They're both specialists in body
mutilation, deformation,
morphication.
deformation, and like mutilation.
Sure, you can put it that way.
I just feel like Fan no Hitori is a lot more just like, yeah, it's here, and Asanagi's like, we must swim in the filth, and it's like, God, please stop this.
I think if we're talking about recent stuff, Fan no Hitori's worse. There's some weird stuff out there. I will mention, I do like Dolls. That's a good Dojin multi-series. Check it out, I guess, if you want.
Anyways. Anything else, Toast?
What else? Asanagi is a bit more tame recently. Some people might not like that, but I guess it's.
I mean, I don't think Asanagi never goes beyond a certain level. It's just how long he swims, how long he stays in the theme that he's doing. You know what I mean? He can have like 30 pages of like, this knight is getting raped by the orc or whatever, or he can have like 10 pages. Who knows? But
I've never seen more than 30 pages. Asanagi does the single page stuff.
He does series though. He does series, right? So
something like one, or I mean, if you want to
he did a couple of series.
They're not. There's no Asanagi like multiverse. They're just, hey, there's this one story, then there's this other story.
Can you? I'm suddenly imagining Asanagi cinematic universe. It's like, holy shit.
I mean, if you want to count the Grand Blue stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But like his original works, they're really that interconnected. Although, but Fan no Hitori has a multiple in-universe stuff. Like there's the what is it, Hypnosis app? That one's pretty good. And then the one with the Monster Girls, that's also another series. And then there's obviously Dolls. That's a good one. What else? What are we talking about again?
What else did you watch / check out?
Oh yeah, that Asanagi Honolulu art is pretty good. I recommend you all check it out.
Okay.
Uh,
pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Then I guess for me, I haven't had. Well, I've tried to keep up with the series that I was watching. Went through a bit of more of a Wonder Egg priority, obviously, and in the past 2 weeks, strangely enough, I've had a renaissance of sorts with visual novels. It's not like I was like, wow, I gotta suddenly read all these visual novels, but it was just like I have time when I'm taking breaks during my workouts and stuff like that. So just to, you know, skim through visual novels and stuff. So I went through a lot of like lighter stuff. It was weird because it's like I went through there's been a couple of stuff that was like, you know, animal like Nekomimi or Kemono Mimi, right? Animal eared like girls in a feudal isekai kind of setting. Plus, cafe and so on. Those visual novels I kind of like ran through real quick, and then there was like one or two other stuff. Um, I've been going through I She Tell or something like that, which is like a long visual novel, but I'm trying to like run through everything, and I've been noticing a lot of this is always my eternal complaint, but it's like there are some times where I'm like, oh, this translation makes me feel refreshed, like it's translating what I want, and then some other times I'm just like I'm hearing something, and then they're like they're just adding like three more sentences that have nothing to do with like some like girl will be like, huh? And then the translation will be like, what are you talking about? That's so stupid. I'm like, you could look, this is not your visual novel, okay? You don't have to include that in. And then what else was there? There was that one I think I showed some of the other guys here where it's like fuck it was something like, oh, the premise of this like play is for you to be making the hamburgers instead, or something like that, for you to be cooking the hamburger patties instead, and it turned into something like, hey miss, like is your husband in today, or like it was this line about this guy playboy hitting on the wife or something like that. I'm like, why why why
All the
why do you guys get
localization, you fucking hack, you wouldn't understand.
yeah, that's true. They're the professional
Not
translators
about
after all.
translating, it's about localizing, buddy. I need something I can relate to.
Everybody has different interpretations, guys. But yeah, so interesting thing. I'm ambivalent, as most people might know, about Majikoi official coming out, obviously, with its many flaws, mostly flaws. I want to go through Amakano soon again, and everybody I think is waiting for bated breath for the Amagami release, translation release.
Oh, hold on. Which one of you was the one that reviewed Maggot Baits? I didn't do that one.
We did
Nobody
not
reviewed
No
do
one
Maggot
that.
did
Baits.
that.
Nier and I went through Euphoria, and that was it.
Did you
Yeah.
know Euphoria dudes also made Maggot Baits? Maybe that's
We
where
are
it came
very
from.
aware. We are extremely. Nier and I are so aware. We are.
I don't want to go through fucking maggot baits, dude.
We are. I think we are more aware than we want to be about that
What's
fact.
wrong with Maggot Baits? I heard it has cool witch fights.
Oh my god! As
Yeah.
long as it doesn't have human
Cool.
centipede, we'll be able to. It's so better than Euphoria. Anyways, that was pretty much all I had, and I guess without further ado, we should move on to our reviews. So, Dark, yeah, first today.
Oh, hell yeah. I have literally the best show ever fucking released. Crunchyroll original. Quite arguably the first, like, true Crunchyroll original. Because this is a new studio. It's like or at least, they're not credited for anything else on Mall, but it is a newer studio in that regards. I believe it's just because I don't know if they were. I doubt they were formed for this. Probably more of just like a new studio, like Chinese studio, to fucking ship shit out to, or whatever you want to call it. Huh?
It's
Yeah, it
the studio that made this isn't even an anime studio.
Yeah, what do
Isn't
they
that the whole
do?
thing?
Isn't it one of those studios where it's like they
I
call
don't know
themselves
if
a general
you
like
might be
visual
thinking
production?
of. You might be thinking of the fact that the director has never directed anime before. He's directed live action, and he knows literally zero about
It
the
kind of reminds me.
process.
What you guys were
Visual Flight, the studio that made X-Arm, is not even an anime studio. It's a what is it again?
It's like it kind of reminds me of like how it wasn't Ninja whatever it was. It was one of the series before. It was also kind of like a smaller like New Year's kind of series. But you guys remember when we were checking out a company and it was like this is the first anime that they make and they're trying to branch out from being like a graphic / visual production company. Like, do you guys remember that?
Isn't that this
It,
one?
is,
I
is
believe
it?
it's this one.
No, is it?
No.
No. That one was a Japanese company, I think. But you guys sort of remember what I'm getting at, right? Is it like that?
It seems like they're a studio that helps with like modeling stuff for like video games. Like just a
this is
general like 3D modeling.
this is our so it's a general
studio.
like 3D like they're working as like an almost pure 3D in between like one of those companies, right? That we know where they're when we go on to like Anime News Network and we check out their roles, they're always like 3D, 3D, and then their first anime is like that.
It seems like it. They
Yeah.
had on their website they have credits for Sekiro.
Yeah. That's it.
Please no.
Um and then some
Oh,
other
so
like
they made the models that FromSoft didn't port over from like Dark Souls 3. It's
yeah,
cool.
and some they
Very
have some
cool.
other like modeling credits for random shit.
Yeah, which I mean
But-
can be fine, but it's very different doing any of that. Making an entire animated show.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
bit
I
different
know.
than throwing some models together. Not to undermine doing that for games and stuff, but a little bit different of a process than putting models together to put into a fucking game. Yeah. This show is incredible. It has a 2.2 on all, which
Holy
let's see
shit.
something. So one of the things, to just give you like an overview, of something similar we discussed earlier on was, I believe I floated the idea to Spire. I was like, what if we stream this and react to it? Then I got my staples in, which thank God I didn't do that because I would have ripped through them by like episode 3. Like I would have popped them. I laughed so hard I cried in like episode 2 rather. There's an amazing shot of a guy getting sniped out of a helicopter, and it is the most abrupt fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, he just disappears.
Yeah, if you slow it down, you do see a bullet, but like it's so hard to explain. It's incredible. But yeah, so one of the ideas we floated was doing a side by side, and with that and Ruby Volume 8. Ruby Volume 8, shockingly, is about on par with this show. Expressions wise, characters are better in Ruby Volume 8. I didn't know how bad that show got. That show looks like shit. And so does this. This show, it really maybe it almost has choreography. I guess because like the live action.
I like how you're unsure if it has choreography.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, right? Because it's like
It looks like I've watched it too, and it has decent like let's say anime wise the choreography is terrible, but if it was put into a live action, it might look good.
No,
Because
no,
yeah.
it would
if
still
you
it
look
would
at it,
still look
if
like
you look at
shit.
it from the
It-
you look at it from
I
the
mean, there are
director's point of view.
ideas.
Yeah, sure.
There are ideas there.
Might look.
There are shots in episode 1. Near, you missed episode 1. There's a dock fight that admittedly there's one section that was like pretty decent, and then there's stuff that could look quite good if it was live action, but beyond that I don't think so. Especially when you get to episode, like 3 and 4 or 4, the robot one. There's no
Yeah.
there's no making that good. Anyway, so the basic premise of the show is that there's these things called the X arms. Like, the premise isn't bad. I think it's a manga, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's a
it's
manga.
manga.
Is the manga liked? I don't remember. I
It's
thought it was.
it's decent-ish. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's kind of pretty average, I guess.
The fact that it doesn't have the animation of the
Yeah,
anime helps.
it actually looks good in the manga.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
the anime.
So, because it's
Ooh,
like
boy.
the story itself isn't that bad. It's like a guy gets hit by a truck, and instead of getting into an isekai, he becomes a brain in a titanium like shell, and he's like a weapon essentially that can interface with people and things. And then there's there's other X arms out there that can do other weird shit. And what it's hinting at is now he got hit by a truck in 2014. Now it's 2030. In 2020, he keeps having a vision of like himself, like I don't even know. I guess I don't know if it's encapsulating parts of Japan in like a weird photo negative lightning storm, or just like destroying those parts entirely. But what that is that appears to be in 2020, like all the X arms were one piece, and that's what happened. Now, granted, the show hasn't told us that directly yet, but it's extremely obvious. So now it turns like into him joining the police force essentially, to like go against like crimes being committed with X arms, which can do weird shit like tattoo bomb things on people, like detonation circuits that the person with the X arm can detonate, or like delete space and stuff. So there's things like that, and that stuff's okay. I mean, like conceptually, like the story's fine. It could be
Conceptually.
all right. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to say like that's okay in the show. Like when they show that stuff, it's like that's still
Yeah, I
obviously
mean,
really bad.
like in execution, the way the story is told, like in the show, is like dog shit. It's fucking horrible. Like it is so fast paced that like you don't have time to really process like what's happening on screen, let alone what's happening like in the story. Fucking insane.
Yeah. But yeah, so listen, fuck the story. Like, look, you kind of get it by now. The real meat and potatoes here is the audio visuals.
Yeah.
Voice
Yup.
acting, the voice acting cast is like pretty big.
It's. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would think that like these days, especially in the current environments, like most casts tend to have pretty, because they're all kind of scrounging for money, right? So they're just getting whatever series they can. So even with XR, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like Kita Akari, Saito Soma, Kawatsumi Mikako, Namikawa
Mhm.
Daisuke.
I've seen this list.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big ol' cast.
Right.
Now there
Now, sir.
now even as an example, our guy, holy fuck, what character did he play? What was his character's name even?
Who?
I don't know. There was a guy in like episode 1. I forget what the hell his character's name was, but he was voiced by, I'm pretty sure, Jotaro's voice actor. and he only shows up in episode 1. But like there are points when he's okay.
Ono?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that was him. Sounded like him.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I don't see him in the main cast, but I knew.
No, he's not in the main cast. Like he's a villain in episode 1. Like there's like points where he's so clearly like phoning it in. It's unbelievable. Which is crazy. Well, actually, you know what? No, I shouldn't even say he's phoning it in. Like they're using voice clips that they didn't properly direct him to. Like he's doing these like really weak grunts when he's like getting the shit kicked out of him. Like he gets knocked out, and he does like a really weak like grunt.
Talking about this guy with the weird hand.
Yeah.
He
Through
is
hand
voiced
or whatever?
by Kaya Kuroda.
Oh, that's Through Hand. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. His name is Through Hand because he can like walk through walls because of his hand.
Oh, he did Simon. He did Simon and Jurarara. That's
Right. Okay.
okay. And you just keep going.
But yeah, so anyway, yeah, he's also like one of the like more recently one of the teachers in Jujutsu Kaisen, and whatnot. Sullivan and Irumakun. But anyway, he's quite good. But clearly they're not particularly using him well. So like voice acting wise overall though, it's fine. Soundtrack wise is like kind of unbelievable.
What happened? Is it? Are we talking Destruction of Mars level? What's happening?
No.
Not quite.
Like the songs themselves would like quality wise are like it's music. It's fucking
It is music.
It's fucking bizarre.
It's put in organized forms of different sounds.
Yeah,
yes.
like it has a like bit rate you could hear. So like quality wise, whatever. These songs themselves are fucking weird. Like most of the time, like they're really not. Sometimes they're like kind of fitting, but they're like nothing, and then other times like just these weird songs will play at like scenes.
The one time where you look at the soundtrack at like fucking like 320 kbps or like flag, and you're like, no, I'll take the low quality one, thanks.
But yeah, so like that's like kind of whatever. Speaking of, the opening is incredible. It's hard to describe. I would just say, yeah, like look it up. Like not even visuals wise, the song, just the whole fucking dish is wonderful. Visuals wise, it's some of like the worst I've ever seen.
Oh, Dark, are you talking about
the better or worse than Berserk?
Dude, the opening,
the dead-eyed stairs, because
the opening fucking sounds like people are singing at a karaoke.
They like flap. They like
it's really
flap their fucking like mouths open and closed, which is something. They don't have what are those called? Like, well, yeah, actually, you guys might not know. I think they're like, was it it's either booleans or blend shapes or a combination of the two. Where you could just literally make out you have morphs essentially set up for like mouth rigs to do the different like sounds essentially that you need to make words.
Okay. Like
so you might have like the OO, what is it, like ON, like N, like NN, shit like that, like different like phonetic like sounds set up and shapes to essentially accompany those, and then you just blend between those. Some programs even just like have it do that automatically. Some games already have that too. I think Skyrim actually uses that technology to auto lip sync characters.
Right.
But yeah, none of that. There isn't a single like their mouth opens and their mouth closes.
I like how the models in the opening don't have any animations. They just rotate them. And
Yeah,
all the clips in the opening are obviously from the anime, so they couldn't afford to make new ones.
yeah, they didn't make any new clips for the opening. Most of the clips in the opening too are specifically from like episode 3 and 4, which is weird.
Well, okay, so,
That's true.
so can I say something? Like, I don't understand. Like, this was sort of true with Milipensi and so on back then with Berserk, and although obviously they've improved a bit, but and like these
Have
guys,
they?
right?
Yeah, they did. They've
gone from
they
like
did
a D to
Cop
like
Craft.
a B minus. Yeah, they went from like a D
Well,
to
they
like a
weren't
B
at a
minus.
B. They were like at a fucking. They went from like an
Frankly,
F. They went from a failing
F-
grade
F
to
to
like a
C.
C plus or
Yeah,
like a B
exactly.
minus.
Yeah,
Let's not get too fucking crazy.
let's not be too. But like these guys on virtual, what I don't get is that it's. I understand them not being able to make like a full blended anime or whatever, blah blah the works, but it's like stuff like this that we're talking about, right? I feel like wouldn't that be more
Do you
obvious? And
Fire,
wouldn't that be stuff that they would have incorporated in as a studio before thinking about making an anime, right?
Fire, do you think
Well,
they,
you
they
would
did
think
not
that.
have the budget for an anime, or they wanted to try something new? Remember, they said they were going to war against all sci-fi anime or
Jesus.
something like that.
Really? Did they say that in an interview?
It was something like that, right?
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
well-
the director has said a bunch of really dumb shit.
Yeah, the
fucking-
director has said some dumb shit. He's basically like a fucking. I don't know what was that shit in where it's like the single fucking samurai like charging sword out into rain of fucking arrows.
That's legitimately like this on the same level as like Attack on Titan will last 50 years when it couldn't even last like enough to get beat out Demon Slayer. Fucking
Yeah,
anyways,
pretty
keep
awesome.
going.
But we're not even done unpacking what's going on here. There's also an incredible choice made by this studio to make every character that is like a minor character either only shown a couple of times or not, or that doesn't have much motion or action. They're 2D.
Oh, cregasm. Budget restrictions.
Yeah,
More like
they,
yeah. Go ahead.
they're not even resembling the style of the show. Not even resembling the style of other 2D characters in a lot of cases in the same
it's kind of
scene.
like what we kind of saw in Tsukigakure and obviously again in Milipensi, right? Where we talk about fuck, what was that blimp anime that I covered? That you remember what I talked about, right? The blimp anime where it's like
Oh, what
the
about the
background.
world?
Yeah, the one where it's like no, it's fuck. It wasn't.
I don't
Blimp,
think I don't think you're really capturing that. I mean,
But it-
Tsukigakure, not even close. Like,
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Where it's like the people in the background were like 2D, and then the fight scene itself in the front was 3D or some shit like that.
yeah, that's not even close. These are characters like
the
right next to
foreground?
each other. Yeah, right next to each other. I mean,
Yes.
Spire, I
You will
posted
have
that picture
a
in chat.
3D character walking
Here.
next to a 2D character.
Hey,
I'm
yeah,
going to save this image. I'm going to try and open it on stream.
do it.
This is going to be difficult for me to do because I don't remember how to use OBS very well.
Oh fuck! I went back to the picture. You're so right. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But like,
I was like,
here's the thing. Like, some of these characters look like they're from fucking G.I. Joe. Other characters look like they're from just a 90s anime. And then there's like this guy who looks like he's from a fucking CDI game. Like, it's so strange. Like, there's so many like things going on that it's really weird. Now, I would say as far as like, yeah, I don't even know what they were going for with that, to be honest, because it's just really weird. Like the main character is having a conversation with his brother, and his brother's 2D and he's 3D. So like obviously the main character can't properly look at his brother, so it looks like he's looking behind him. Like it's so weird, and I love it. It's It's incredible. I'm gonna watch every single fucking episode of this thing.
I like
thing
how
is-
the 2D models look pretty good. Like, hey, it looks like standard
well,
anime.
Yeah, the
And then you get the
2D
3D models, and it's like, ooh.
Now, granted, the 2D character art
They don't move very much.
Yeah, they don't
so-
move much, so you can't give them that much credit. Like, you're like, okay, these are humans you've drawn. It's hilarious that the styles are so fucking different. There's so many little things as well. Let me see if I could pull up the other one too. This is going to be a really image-heavy presentation here.
You should pull up the shot of the church.
That's what I'm going to pull up. I'm pulling up the fucking church because that's kind of legendary as well.
What's
Where did
upsetting
I
again?
post
It's like
that? Didn't I post that? Oh, I didn't post it. I posted in our
It
general
was in
chat.
the
I gotta
main,
scroll
yeah.
up.
Okay, what's upsetting is like it's one thing to be like that in that one, for instance, the Kotobu no Hanayome situation, right? The quintessential Kotobu situation, where people like the artist, the chief artist points out like a proportion thing, but it's like otherwise like you're like I guess it's somewhat natural, sort of, I guess, right?
Do you want
But
to? Proportions and like vanishing lines,
no, what I'm saying is like
buddy.
that's one thing.
Those you can throw that right out the fucking window.
Yeah, I know.
None
But
of
like
that
these people are just like, yeah, but these people are just like, how do they wake up in the morning and like look at themselves in the mirror? That's my question.
Check
It's
out
just-
this. As soon as I gotta shrink this down a little bit. Whoops. Da. So let's like really look at this scene right here.
Yeah, this shot is like
This shot's
so
incredible.
fucked.
So
Yeah, it's
So-
ooh.
so a couple things here.
It's like it is like mind bending.
am I looking at an Escher painting?
That's
What's
what I
happening
said.
here?
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
what we-
boys,
that's what we said.
we are now in an MC Escher fucking painting. Like everything in this scene is at a completely different like perspective. It's awesome. It all has different vanishing points. The trees are below the ground.
Yeah, it's like the park is like going straight
Yeah.
down afterwards.
Yeah, there's apparently a 90-degree like what do you call that? Like trench, like reservoir, like right after that street ends. That's extremely dangerous.
What's going
And
on?
the church was built on a 45-degree angle, like
Yeah, like an
down
incline.
backwards. Yeah. And then there's like, but also this show uses these trees to cover shit constantly. This same like tree line. They used it in episode 1 on a like a police building that I recognized from Kamen Rider as well. So they traced the shit out of that.
So they have like a copy and paste like tree/skyline essentially.
Yeah, this tree line right here though, no, but it's in front of like a imagine like that. Imagine if what's that building in Times Square that's on like the corner? That's like the V-shaped corner.
The Daily Bugle.
Yeah, essentially. Like take that and put that big tree line in front of it. So it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like this building would have to be in the middle of a fucking thick forest. Like where is this supposed to be? Like these aren't trees in a park. These aren't trees lining a street. This is a fucking forest surrounding these buildings. So that's also another awesome part. And yeah, there's just so much stuff like that that's incredible. Now, granted, also we have to give the manga we have to give it some credit that apparently the source has to have some really stupid shit in it too. Because in episode was it 2 or 3, a fucking helicopter flips upside down and flies upside down.
Yeah, they're flying this helicopter, right? And they say like initiate like reverse like rotation or whatever. And then like the helicopter drops off screen. And then it comes flying up and it's upside down. And it's like excuse me?
Yeah. Which is not You would not have enough fucking time in any universe to reverse
Yeah.
the like rotation of a helicopter's blades midair and fucking like stay in the air. Two, that also still would not happen. Still not how that works. Three, there was really no reason for them to even go upside down. So
No.
there's that too. And it's also a horribly inconvenient helicopter. The way their helicopter works is it's like two of the characters like riding on it like it's like a motorcycle almost, but like under the helicopter. Like there's
Yeah.
no body of the helicopter. It's like if they were sitting on like weird like bikes under it. Completely exposed. It makes no fucking sense. But that's sci-fi, I guess. Session brings up in chat, is this made by the Ready Player One guy? This is basically on par with it. It's probably why I love it. It's insane. And I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to watch more of it. It's, yeah, I mean, it's really bad. Also, it's crazy because, like, it is crazy to me to see this show and then, like, literally compare it side by side with something like Ruby Volume 8 and just be like, wow, these are both kind of equal. But I'm having so much more fun with this one.
Again, it's like kind of obviously there's like a pleasure to watching this kind of thing where it's like, it's such a train crash that it comes back around to being like funny and like good. But it's like what upsets me is like, again, just it's one thing to be like, all right, we're in a pandemic or we don't have very many resources. So, there's a lot of cut down on frames, maybe some of the even like the principal like sketches, right? Not necessarily the in between. Some of the principal stuff looks a little bit rough, so on and so forth, right? That's one thing, especially if you're a sort of second tier studio, whatever. But this is design wise just a bunch of poor production decisions, right? It's not a scale, it's not a gradient of quality as in like we're missing some frames here or like this art looks a little bit worse or whatever. It's literally like we designed this way. And this is a conscious decision to be like, hey, we'll do this shitty thing. And that's what really upsets me. Do you guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you could. Well, yeah, because it's like, okay, there's like COVID didn't take away our
Your praise.
our perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, shit, guys, COVID hit, and now I fucking walk up and down my staircase at the same exact time. It's
lack of taste and lack of
fucked up.
perspective. Yeah, exactly.
Just proves that the entire everyone on this production studio is out of their element.
Yeah.
I mean that's for sure. I mean, listen, like I said, this isn't even really to like roast the studio itself or like the people working on it, because like,
Yeah,
the 3D models, the 3D models of the characters could be used in like games and shit in certain places, but they need to be like, obviously they need more work.
Yeah.
But again, like game things, like even like rigs for games aren't made for like animation. It's just not. It doesn't work. I mean, shit. I think a good example would be, to a lesser extent, if you look at I don't know, just like compare like World of Warcraft's like in-game cinematics with like the regular cinematics they do. Like, obviously, it's like the cinematics that use the in-game models like still look a little off. They definitely touched them up, but like there was also a time in WoW where it's like the in-game cinematic, like the in-game cutscenes that were like even a step down from that. Like those are just fucked up. Like they don't even try to do any different animations with them because they know it's not going to work. And like that's definitely the case here. Like these aren't these aren't people who do this. Assets in isolation are way different than fucking like trying to put something entirely together. I mean, and also it's probably like a fucking sweatshop scenario too, for Christ's sake. Like, Lord only knows how much they're actually being paid or time they're being given. But, you know,
it's
there's also, I mean, there's so many. I just remembered another thing. Like, for some reason, like the main character's brain case is like the only thing that's like pre-rendered in the show
Because it
after
doesn't
not
move.
being. Yeah, but it's rendered like with completely different lighting and like
I don't
no
know,
outline.
man.
There's no outline to it, and before that, in that very same episode, it wasn't pre-rendered. Like, it's very. I don't understand. But yeah, I would say check it out. Like, it's awesome. Like, the 2D characters especially like kind of make it. There's so many fucking shots that are just absurdly not good. I will say this though. This is going to be a hot take. Fuck this director. Like, in general, I don't care. Just like this guy, I don't believe this person can like direct a good live action series either. I can't in good faith like say that, because there's so many shots that are just like awful. They're hard
Garbage.
cut. Like, there's so many hard cuts. There's like these weird pans that make no fucking sense. I mean, shit. There are like choices in this show. What was it? Episode 1 as well. A guy holds up an Uzi to like the main white-haired android girl. Like he's like gonna shoot her from like fucking 30 feet away. Holds up an Uzi. And then their representation of that as a reverse shot was to put a like fucking GoldenEye sniper scope level like thing over the screen, and it like zooms in on her at completely impossible angles and pans. And it's like, not only does this guy not have any optic on this gun because it's a fucking like Uzi and he's 10 feet away from her, also it's moving as if like he's now 2 inches from her face. So like, I don't also believe that either, because that to me is something that even a live action director would look at and immediately say, why would we move the camera like this?
You know, the worst part of all this is that I just realized TQ has more coherence than this, like more like artistic, like
Yep.
directorial coherence, and they don't have an art director.
Yeah.
they don't have a general director, right? Isn't it just like the artists all just running around or some shit? Isn't it like some sort of democracy in there?
I'm
Or
not
is it just art
sure.
director?
I think
they definitely don't
probably,
have a chief art director.
Yeah, I think they have a general director though.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure.
There are fucking like bunch of monkeys running around in there, and they still made something that's probably much more coherent than X-Arms, and that's a little bit off. I don't know about this. Anyways, anything else? Any last words on the series, Dark?
I mean, if this is what like the true Crunchyroll originals are going forward, fuck man, I'm so ready. I'm here for this shit.
The scale, the scale you have is between X-Arms and God of High School, so you're gonna have a great.
No, because like God of High School is not like really a Crunchyroll original. Like this.
Yeah, that's true.
This, like, you can't tell me like, oh, they pulled the strings to get, God of High School and fucking Tower of God made.
Right, exactly.
They pulled the strings to get this made. That's for damn sure.
So, I looked it up. Shin Itagaki is for TQ the director, sound director, episode director, script, storyboard, key animation, character design, animation director, and in between animation.
How is that serious? Okay, I've literally heard like, wait, Banana is like, does it have less or more money than Banana has more money than TQ?
Banana-
Is this what we're saying?
Banana probably has more money, yeah.
What the fuck is going? Jesus Christ! Oh my god! At least we got Shinji Takaki, right?
Yeah.
At least we got him. Anyways, thank you, Dark, for the covering of this very interesting series.
What would you rate it?
Yeah. Is it
Okay,
a 1
so, like,
star on
Real
ML?
like
Yeah,
real
it's 1 star.
rating? Real
Or 2?
rating? It's
It's
like
2?
oh yeah, it's a 2.2 on
Yeah, it's
on
2.2 on Mall, which gives it a 1 star.
Jesus Christ!
So like realistically, I don't know if it's even worth that, right? Because it's like, bro,
Yeah.
like who the fuck is here? Like you're really gonna watch?
It's
You're
it's
really gonna
insulting.
watch this? Like
insulting.
it's not. It may as well not be fucking real. However, like my recommendation, fucking go into this to have a good time. It's fucking 10 out of 10. Like this shit's awesome.
Jesus Christ. Actually upsetting. Anyways, thank you, Dark.
Is this the Death Stranding of modern anime?
Please no. Anyways, thank
It's
you, Dark, for yeah, for covering X Arms. We are moving now on to Host. What do you have for us?
So, speaking of TQ, I watched what?
Where are we going with this?
Speaking of TQ, they also made Kumo desu ga Nani ka.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Studio Milipensi, famous for their 9 seasons of TQ, and Berserk. Apparently, in
Yes?
TQ is great. Everyone should watch TQ.
TQ is a series that exists on this planet, yes. Anyway.
So, while Dark has a questionable CG, Kumiko's CG is pretty cool. Wait, did I talk about what series I covered? Kumo desu ga Nani ka.
Yeah, Kumo desu ga
Anyway.
Nani ka, or also
Spe-
known localized, it's So I'm a Spider, so what? Anyways, keep going.
Speaking of CG, Dark has questionable CG, but Kumiko's CG is pretty good. But that's about it. All the other CG models are crap. They look super generic.
They're
and
getting there.
They're oddly colored. I don't know if that's if that's true to the source material or that's like the the anime director's choice. But they're way too brightly colored to be in a deep dark dungeon. And they look completely like they ripped them off of a Unity or whatever 3D art program they made. They suck. But Kumiko, they obviously put all their effort into creating her because she moves pretty fluidly compared to everyone else.
I would hope so. I would hope the main character at least.
So, what does that say about the CG quality? I guess your main character is fantastic, but everyone else sucks. I don't know.
It means it's
Take it what you
mildly
will.
bad over.
I mean, it helps that there's no that the parts that are 3D, like everyone's in 3D, so there's no jarring. There's no jarring. Hey, look at this 2D model versus this 3D model kind of thing happening. So, guess that's a plus. Good for them. There are 2D elements to this, which makes sense, I guess. Kumiko and her adventures in the spider dungeon, they're all 3D, but apparently there are some important human characters in here, and they're all 2D, so it looks like a regular anime from that point, and I'm like, huh, that's neat, I guess. But, oh yeah, I forgot to do the synopsis. So, an entire class gets isekai'd, and the weirdo loner girl reincarnates into a spider, and everyone else is like, oh, I'm gonna reincarnate into this kingdom, or I'm a hero and I'm a prince or whatever. Except her, she reincarnates into a deep dark dungeon as a spider, maybe, and then she's got to fight her way to survive in this world. That's cool.
You seem very invested in the series, Toast.
It's a good series. It's just after Dark's talk of X Arms, I'm kind of deflated because I can't top that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I apologize for putting it in this order, Toast.
What else? Visuals, audio. Let me just say that Aoyuki completely makes this anime her own. Like, forget about the other characters. This
Yeah.
series, Aoyuki being Aoyuki and talking to Aoyuki about stuff, and I'm like, oh, she's a pretty good voice actor.
Oh, really? You realize that
Hey,
she's a
she's
pretty
pretty
decent voice
good.
actor. But the thing is, she does have a very because obviously her voice is unique, but it's also like she had her voice, her unique voice is specifically one that's like it. She can do like a softer voice. She's done that in a lot of supporting characters, and like early on, I believe, especially with something like Monica, right, which was actually a softer voice compared to a lot of other stuff. But I think because she can do like the whole like screaming and like kind of cutting through the noise, right? So she did that in Symphogears Hibiki. She does that in obviously Tanya in Yojo Senki, and she does what is it? Fucking, she does a couple of others. I mean, Komachi kind of in sort of Oregairu, but like a bunch of other stuff where it's like she really like it's like, oh, this is her. Like, boom, this is her character. You kind of know it, and it does center the attention. Yeah.
I mean, you got some pretty strong VAs in here. There's Kitamura Eri, there's
Yeah.
Ogura Yui, there's Naotoyama, and it's like, who cares about those losers in the human kingdom? Here's Aoyuki just talking to Aoyuki about Aoyuki things as a spider. I'm like, damn.
Sure.
I mean, that's another thing. But why there's such a dissonance between Aoyuki's strong, like, characterization and dialogue that when I get to the human parts, I'm like, this is boring. It's like she's completely overshadowing anyone else, and I, I kind of get why there has to be the human characters have to do their own thing on the side while Kumoko does her things because you can't just have an anime with one voice actor, like an anime like this with just one voice actor doing everything. It's kind of it doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
So it's like, I mean, I get it, but kind of the human characters is just a detriment to Aoyuki's fantastic voice acting role here. And it's like, I get, well, whatever, man. No one cares about these human characters. Whatever. There's,
It's like having something super spicy in the case of like Ayuki, and then everybody else is just bland, right?
it's like, get out of here, humans. Just stay in this dungeon the entire time. What else? I don't know what else to say. This show's pretty cool.
Okay, pretty good.
I
I guess
if you'll, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if you like a little bit more unconventional isekai with again the usual sort of female lead that kind of gets shot into a very unfortunate place, right? I mean, the beginning idea is a little bit it's not uncommon, but I think the way it kind of unwinds itself, no pun intended, is a little bit more interesting. Sure.
Let's see. It's by today. I've watched 9 episodes of this, and
Mhm.
is this a 12-episode series or a 24? I
It
believe
should be
it's
12.
12.
It should be 12.
No, it's
No, it's
24. Okay,
9.
good. Okay, good.
Oh wait, no, it's 24. Okay.
Because if this was 12 episodes and episode 9, she's still not out of the dungeon yet. And I read some of the light novel and the manga, and it's like she doesn't spend that long in the dungeon, like maybe a couple of volumes. But episode 9, we're still in the dungeon. She still hasn't fought any of the real big dungeon bosses yet. So I was gonna say if this was 12, and I mean the pacing's kind of slow, but 24. If it's 24, then yeah, this pacing's on track. So yeah, what else? You like Slime Tensei? I guess you can. It's kind of similar, but not at the same time. I mean, Slime Tensei, the premise where they're a monster, and you got to start from being the weakest monster to become the strongest monster. But whereas where Rimuru makes his own city and hangs out with a lot of people, Komoko's completely by herself, fighting, being a solo player. Yeah, so different, but at the same, it's the same, but at the same time different.
Okay.
So yeah,
So for anybody that does want to check that out, again, it's a pretty again. I think some people might be like, "Oh, it's the same like girl getting shot into whatever," but I think the isekai again unravels itself quite decently. So
okay.
anybody that's
So what am I gonna? I'll rate it an 8 out of 10 because she's got 8 legs.
all right.
But yeah, Aoyuki's fantastic in this role. Is this gonna be one of her greatest roles ever? Well, only time will tell.
She has a lot
But
of
yeah,
she has a
uh,
lot of pretty good roles, but yeah, I think there are some roles where you're just like listening to it. And fuck, like this fits like this thing. For instance, like Holo and Koshimi Ami, obviously. Um,
like Chitoge and now Toyama. Yeah.
I was about to say Satorina and Misaka Mikoto, but yeah,
Who's that? Oh,
please, you're about to make Dark very angry here. Anyways,
all
thank you.
right. That's the railgun chick.
Yes,
I
it
was
is
thinking.
the
Yeah, how
railgun.
dare you say that about my married wife?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Definitely not
Ayahiro
alternate.
and Haruhi, but okay, I'll take that.
Anyways, thank you, Toast, for covering Kumo desu ka nani ka? Also known as So I'm a Spider, So What? That I'm going to take over here. And I did bottom tier, I believe the localized title is called Bottom Tier Character Tomozaki or
Oh, that one. Ew.
Jaku-Chara Tomozaki-kun. Um, so, light novel original, drawn by Fly. I mean, it's written by Yuki Yaku or Yaku Yuki, but who cares? Everybody in Japan buys light novels because of the cover anyway. This is the general fact. Fly, who did drawings for stuff like Irozuku Sekai, that PA Works anime, and a couple of other stuff. He does really good art. It's really good. Got turned into manga, became an anime, and here we are, project number 9, I believe. Project number 9 having their hands in a lot of sort of stuff that goes a little bit harder in the paint with regards to fan service, Rokubu, both seasons. Saikin, what is it? 最近リモートのユースがちょっとおかしいんですか? or recently my sister is unusual. Momokyun Sword, stuff like this, like Netoge, and you thought there was never. They've done a lot of stuff in this vein, and now they have this one. And before I start, can I just say, I like the art of the main character in the light novel, but why they turn the character into this? Like, did we really have to do this? Like, it's very, yes, the point is like he's the loser who becomes whatever, like he tries to become cool, like that's the whole like backbone, not really backbone of the premise or backbone of the story, but can we not have him look like some guy that's just like got put in the washing machine and then pulled out and not dry, like like give him some dignity.
Don't you like his wet napped hair?
Yeah, he's so me. Oh my god. But yeah, I don't know. It's just very like Fly didn't draw him like this in the light novel. This is just the anime version. And everybody else looks 90% like their Fly, like the light novel version, except for this guy. So this guy was purposely thought to be really retarded. So I don't know about that. Anyways, other than that, not too much to say about the audio visuals. Audio isn't much to brag about. Visuals is...
So why is he called bottom tier?
So he's just like a really like he's a good gamer, or he's the gamer. But yeah, he's essentially like a top Smash player essentially. Although obviously they call it something different in the light novel. And he's like a top player or whatever, and he's just like, I'm strong I'm strong in games and I can do whatever, but in real life, which is like a trash game, I'm just like, I can't do anything because I was born with this shit. I was just born, my genetics was all crappy and I'm like a loser because of this. And that's sort of how the premise is. And then the girl next to him, or the guy is called Tomozaki Fumiya, where the name comes from. And the girl is Hinami Aoi, who's like, no, the real life isn't trash. You could totally, get by and, do stuff and become a cool guy, blah, 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 blah. And that's sort of how the story, I'll put it in quotes, story heads along. Again, audio isn't much. Visual is fine. It's like, it's solid fan service for a fan service series. Project number 9, doesn't usually disappoint. They've done Roku. They started out with Roku, and they right. It's like they know what they're doing with the whole like fan service. So what else? Oh, voice actors. Decent number of A-listers. Kanemoto Hisako, Kayano Ai, Maika Ryoko, Shimazaki Nobunaga, wow, okay. Okamoto Nobuhiko, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of these male voice actors are in like villain-ish roles, by the way, which is pretty funny. Oh yeah, and the new guy, although it's not a new guy, but there's the main character is voiced by Sato Gen, who did one of the main characters in Dr. Stone about 2 years back, and then he just like disappeared, and then he came back. Now he has like 3 different roles or something in like between the winter and the spring seasons, like 3 different main roles. But his voice honestly isn't really. I mean, it's like a regular like, I'm just like a your average dude, bro, kind of voice. I'm not very convinced by it, but it is what it is. Story-wise, right? So again, I've covered half of what the story is. Essentially, the guy is like top gamer, Smash player, blah blah blah, but then he's just like, oh man, such a shitty kid, born with unpredictable genetics and blah blah blah, all these imbalances, flaws. You can't really go beyond the limits. And then and then the girl Hinami comes along, is it's like, oh man, I was a Smash player, but I couldn't get past you, blah, blah, blah. And they meet together, they meet through the game, and then they're like, oh man, like, I can't fucking beat you. So the girl calls out to him, and starts showing him how to be good at the game called life. And by being good, it's like being popular, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And that's sort of how it starts, and then that's sort of how it ends. By the way, it's like the whole, like, oh, I'm going to improve at this game called life is mentioned at regular intervals, but it's never really like, how do I say this? It's clearly like the author doesn't give a shit, right? It's clearly just a very light vehicle for all the heavy fan service he's dumping on top, which is just the girls, and he's coming out. He's just like, wow, I'm such a loser, and then all these girls slowly like start hanging around him, and like so on and so forth. And they kind of have their own stories, sort of, but it's like for the most part, it's just about how the girls are just, wow, I'm either doing this sort of Yuri stuff with the other girls while having my own sort of social problems, or I'm attracted to the loser main character guy. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I don't. What kind of upsets me about this is that it's not like there aren't series like this, right? That have this sort of like premise in the front, and then most of the backside is like a sort of like harem slash Yuri slash fan service party, right? Girls on girls on girls kind of thing. But it upsets me that the premise is such a blatant front, in a sense, right? So it's like there are plenty of series where the premise kind of dissolves and kind of slows down, and they're not getting into the story, or they get into the bits of the exposition or the narration or the introspection, whatever, in episode 4 or 5 or 8 or wherever, second chapter, fifth chapter, blah blah blah. And then in the middle there's all the like, can't believe I'm hanging out with this girl, wow, blah 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 sort of thing going on, Beauty and the Beast shit going on. But this is one of the first times where I've seen the author so clearly be like, I don't really care about this premise. I'm just gonna have girls, okay? And it's okay to have a series with just, girls flying around and doing, whatever, sexy, cool, whatever shit all the time, right? It's like, I'm the person that almost gave, Twin Tail Ninarimasu, right? I want to be the Twin Tail, right? I almost gave that one of, best series of the year award. I'm that guy. So for me, values wise, it's okay to just have girls, whatever. But don't lie to me. Don't be like, hey, we have this premise about maybe, you can kind of improve yourself, or like introspection on like what is appearances or social, all this, the general theme about, oh, what does it mean to be cool? Worth it to be popular? Bullying and social, keeping up with his appearances and social appearances, and like, I just want to be myself instead of being a Ryoju or Ikemen or whatever it is, right? A cool guy. This thing is going on over here in this corner, and like the author never really goes anywhere. Like he doesn't even try going in beyond the surface level, and that's what upsets me the most. Just if you're not going to care about the premise, if you're not going to do, at least try to do deeper dives on the premise, then fuck off. Like, just give me the girls. Why are you wasting my time with it? Like, even Oregairu, right? Oregairu, I didn't like how, I don't like the series, right? I think in terms of how the character development, it's too much like, oh, Hachiman comes in and solves everything. But at least Oregairu tried, right? Oregairu tried doing these deeper dives and these introspections and like, what if, the edgy character said X, Y, and Z, right? The author tried. Tomozaki-kun does not try with the premise, and that's the problem. And that's really upsetting to me. Just don't front with me. Just give me the girls or fuck off. Don't do this thing where you're like, oh, but real life is just like a game, bro. Or like, oh, social appearances and, bullying and all. Don't fuck off. Just do the deep dive or go home. And even this series reminds me of another series that I read, a while back called Minamoto-kun Monogatari. If people know that series, it's a very degenerate series where a dude where it's kind of like a feminine main
The
character.
one with the fat dude, or is this the one about the
No,
Genji
that's
thing?
Masamune-kun no Revenge. That's different.
So yeah, this is the Genji one.
Yeah, this is the Genji one. Yes. So the effeminate boy, like almost Shota-like, is meets up with his aunt, and then the aunt like convinces him to like or flirt with and hit up with like 13 different girls as part of her research with Genji or some shit like that. Like, then obviously the premise fell by the windows. I mean, like the premise, quote unquote, like you gotta hit the objective is there, but the whole deeper any sort of moral theme fell out the window, right? It's just about go through girls 1 through 13 or 1 through 14, right? And even that series, in my opinion, is more tolerable. And I hated that series. I hated that series. That series is more tolerable than Tomozaki-kun is because that series doesn't front. It says, okay, well, we just gave you a reason for macking with 13 girls. Go out. Go get 13 girls. That's literally it. It's just, Minamoto-kun Monogatari was essentially the world God only knows, but 100 times more degenerate, right? So it's like, do it. Be good at one extreme with the girls, or try to be good at the other extreme. Maybe what I do, whatever. If you like that sort of stuff, with the whole like edgy introspection, blah blah blah. But don't give me this half-ass bullshit where you're like, oh man, maybe we should think about social blah 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 blah, and then just go into the girls, right? Whatever. So that's sort of what I thought all the way throughout the series. It wasn't very impressive in terms of any social sort of dynamics with the characters or how they tried to do introspection or whatever. It's very depressing. Other than that, I don't have too much to say. It was overall pretty mediocre. I wouldn't suggest anybody really watch this series. If you want to see the art, just go to Fly, just go to the artist's Twitter page or something. I don't know, man. Anyway, that's sort of all I had on Jaku-Chara Tomozaki-kun. I believe that's the name. Yes. Jaku-Chara Tomozaki-kun. Also known as bottom tier character Tozaki or the low tier character Tomozaki-kun, and localized title. And last but not least, we move on to Nier.
Wow. So I watched Mushoku Tensei,
Yes.
Isekai Itara Honki Dasu.
A big title.
Also known
Another
as
Crunchyroll original.
yeah. Except it's not because it's on Funimation. But also known as Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. It's a pretty big show. This is a done by Studio Bind, which is a news studio, which I believe is a project between White Fox and some other like big production company.
Egg firm.
I think they were behind like SAO production shit. But yeah, this is an isekai series where a 40-something hikimori loser he gets hit by a truck.
Surprise.
And he wakes up and he's a baby. And then it turns out he's pretty good at magic.
He suddenly has cool powers. Surprise.
Yeah. So I mean, the initial premise is, I mean, it's pretty basic, right? And honestly, like the first episode of this series, so I don't like Isekai. I think I've made it pretty. I've vocally said multiple times on this podcast that I really don't like Isekai. and the first episode of this series was pretty hard to watch. Um, because it was pretty much literally everything that like isekai has been doing for the past like several years, like
Mhm.
condensed into like a single episode where it's like the dude gets hit by a truck. It time skips through him being a baby, and then like he starts learning magic, and then it's like, whoa, you're so special because you can cast magic without doing an incantation. And then they hire like a magic tutor, and he starts learning magic and shit. But uh, in the like in the subsequent episodes, thank God it kind of like drops the like, oh, you're so special and awesome and cool, because it kind of just like slows down and does like countryside, uh, like sort of slice of life. A lot of this series is like time skips, so uh, it's a lot of this is kind of what happened in the past like 6 months, or this is what happened in the past year, stuff like that. There's a lot of
Mhm.
montages, um, a lot of like small character moments here and there. And it's a very like slow, I guess slow living series. It's pretty cozy.
Okay.
Uh, it skips through. I think the first 3 or 4 episodes is basically like the arc of like uh, the mage girl, Roxy, comes in and teaches him magic. And he becomes, I forget what the fucking terms they use are. But he basically becomes like a certain level of magic where it's like, yeah, I can't really teach you anything else. So she goes and she leaves and she says like, I'm gonna explore the country and become even better at magic and stuff like
Nice.
that. And then after that, there's the arc, small arc where he meets. Um, he sees a elf child um, getting bullied by a bunch of other kids, and main character steps in, and he's like, "Don't bully, people that are weaker than you, etc." And they become friends, and then um, the MC teaches the elf, who's named Sylph, um, how to do magic as well. And then it's like, they're really good at magic too, and also they're able to learn magic without doing incantations. Um, and the series doesn't really explain like whether that's like an actually like a special thing or not, which is kind of cool. Because it sort of leaves it ambiguous as to whether like the MC is like some sort of super special character or not. Because the magic teacher was like, wow, it's kind of insane that you can cast magic without doing incantations. But then, here's this other kid that can do it as well.
Mhm.
Um, and there's a small arc where it jumps around, and it's revealed that Sylph, who the MC thought was a boy, is actually a girl. Um, and they kind of get close to each other. And the MC asks his dad um, whether uh, he's able to go to like magic school, but he wants to take Sylph with him. So he asks the parents to like pay both tuitions, and the dad's like, "There's no fucking way." Um, and so he asks to get a job, and then the dad's like, "I'll see what I can do." Um, and I guess he pulls his like some family connections, and he gets him a job. And then the dad like fucking knocks him over the head with a sword and knocks him out. He throws him into a carriage, and he's like, "This is your job now." And he ships him off to some noble family, which is apparently like the dad's cousin. Um, and then he has to get a job tutoring this noble girl, Eris, and she's like a super tsundere. And then hijinks ensue. So a lot of it's kind of just arc to arc, time skipping here and there, but it's mostly pretty chill. Like
So can I sorry for interrupting, but can I uh so what kept. I mean, the thing is, it's like Mushoku Tensei itself. When you look at it from the cover and you just kind of go through it, especially as we're all, whether we like it or not, or however many we've read, right? We're all pretty experienced with general gamut of isekais, right? We've even had a fucking round table on isekais, right? So when we go through premises like this, we're just like, yeah, yeah, whatever. But what kept you going with regards to Mushoku? Because I think that's a really sort of the pressing point, right?
Yeah. I'm not too sure really. I mean, it kind of helps that the MC's um his inner voice um is done by what's his name? Sugita. So that helps.
that helps.
Um
That's a lot of value. Yes.
yeah. Also the visuals of this show are very very nice. Like really really nice.
Who's the studio again?
Studio Bind, new
Oh,
studio.
wow.
Um
Okay. You usually don't hear
uh
that much, but yeah. But I
yeah.
guess they have a lot of money, right? Oh, wait. This is by between White Fox and somebody else. So it's like White Fox plus money, I think. So White
Yeah.
Fox is known for doing isekai stuff in the original, or like these days at least. I mean, before they did other stuff, but they did like science get and other stuff. But these days, they've done quite a lot of like feudal fantasy and isekai stuff, right? So
Yeah.
It's what happens when you get when you mix White Fox with the studio that worked on the Sao movie and Alicization.
Yeah.
Like,
They've
oof.
got Sword Art money now. But yeah, it looks really nice. There's this constant like sort of like a film grain over like the whole series.
oh,
That gives
okay.
it sort of much like cozy feeling. Palette is very nice. The magic is all like very well animated. Um, it's very just a very good looking show. Um, other than that, I don't know. I feel like the fact that it didn't do the whole the character is born, right? The MC is like reborn, and it kind of skips through like his childhood stuff, and it does like the whole wow, you're learning magic so fast kind of shit, just to kind of set him up like as a like the young prodigy, right? But
Mhm.
it doesn't really do the shit where it's like, yeah, you're like the fucking chosen one, like instantly. Um,
Well, I think also the bigger thing is that a lot of the series, how do I say this? It's like I think most of the series have powerful MCs, and it's a matter of like the scale or whatever. But the bigger issue, right, is where that power gets used, right? Which is why a lot of sort of slow life series have popped up, where it's like, oh, you're so powerful. All right, I'm just gonna go plant a farm or something like that, right?
yeah,
So I think that's also obviously very uh the usage of the power fantasy, and even in like those soul life, there's a difference between I'm doing a soul life and I'm legitimately going through chapters of building a farm, and soul life as in I have a farm, but every other arc I'm just like beating up dragons. You know what I mean?
yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, there's the occasional moment where, like in the current arc that's going on right now, where he's like tutoring this girl. Um, he does some plan where it's like, yeah, uh we'll like fake, put ourselves in danger so that way I can like entice her to like actually want to learn like magic, so that way that
Right.
like she can get herself out of danger instead of having
Hmm.
like to depend on people around her kind of thing.
Hmm.
But it goes wrong, and like he has to like actually fight people with his
Hmm.
magic and stuff. And I mean it'll do stuff like that where it's like, yeah, like he can handle his own.
Right.
But
The
it also
full
does,
utilization of the
yeah,
power fantasy is not there.
yeah, it also does, like when stuff does go wrong and he does have to fight like these bandits and shit, like he still has to get safe. Like he's
Yeah.
not he's not like this all powerful like
Oop,
Like
you're dead.
he's not a god character right now. Like when he had to fight, um, to save the girl, like he almost died because
Mhm.
there was one guy that like threw his sword at him, and like he was like jumping like midair with his magic, and he's like this is it, like I'm fucking dead. Um, and like at the last second, like another character like swoops in and saves him. But it's like it's not like he just waves his hands and like everything is solved.
Right.
Which is, I guess, unfortunately, it is it's nice to see in an isekai series where the character can't just like solve everything on his own. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like the show is just like pretty cozy. Um, I don't know if it continues like that in the source because this is a pretty long running series.
It probably does.
From
I
what
mean,
I
like
understand.
all of the long running series never really. They either like try to go too hard on the whole like, oh, you need to save people and do stuff, which then makes it, it kind of kills out like how Arifureta did, right?
Yeah.
Or they all turn into soul life. They all inevitably turn into soul life stuff just because the guy can only beat up so many enemies before it gets tiring, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, any last words?
I don't know. I mean, this is definitely one of the bigger names of the
Sure.
season. Um, I think it's a pretty good showing. Again, like I'm not like the isekai expert. I tend to avoid isekai like as much as I can. But like when I saw the visuals in the PV for this show, like I just had to check it out.
Mhm.
And it's took me. It's got decently likable characters. Eris, the tsundere girl, is kind of a bitch, but what can you do? I do kind of like the way it's paced, where it's like it's sort of skipping through time, um, but it's not in a manner where it's not like huge skips. It's not like like 5 year jumps. It's like a few months at a time, or maybe a
Right, right,
year, right? Where like in the countryside, like taking a year time skip like isn't really that big of a deal because like what's really happening, you know what I mean? um
right.
but yeah, the pacing's nice, the visuals are really really nice. One thing I do really like about this show that I found really cool is the op um isn't actually like an op. It's sort of just like they have the op song, but they sort of just overlay that on to like whatever is happening like currently at the beginning of the episode. So like there might be, you know,
Oh, okay, okay,
yeah, like
okay.
there might be a montage of him training his magic or his sword fighting, or some cute character moments between characters, like sort of like a slight montage while the song plays over like whatever is currently going on in the story. And I thought that
Mhm.
was really cool. Um very a very smart use of your screen time, I think.
Right, right, right.
Um
And
but yeah,
definitely something a little bit more creative than the usual.
yeah. But yeah, it's a cool show. I'd say check it out.
Yeah.
Um
If
So,
if it's if it's an isekai that Nier is recommending, it's probably worth watching.
so before we end with that, we should talk about the elephant in the room, Near.
what?
How do you feel about Rudius as a character?
Um I think he's okay. I think some of the it does do the thing where it's like, he's a child character with the mind of like a 40-year-old otaku, right?
Not
Um
just a 40-year-old otaku. Remember what happened beforehand?
yeah. Um but I feel like some of the parts where like he's doing like, you know, like leering at women or like stealing their panties. I feel like some of that isn't really balanced too great. Between like this stuff where he's like actually self-reflecting and being like, hey, maybe I really can like live my life again and give it my all. I feel like some of the bits where it's like, yeah, but also I could just feel this person's boobs right now. Um, I feel like some of that sort of is like a step back when you have moments where it's like, the moment where he first like leaves the front yard and he's like, wow, there's actually like not really anything to be afraid of when like leaving my house now. Like I don't have to worry about people bullying. Um, like that's a decent character moment, for like a character like that. But then, like almost, you know, 5 minutes afterwards, he's like, "Yeah, but I stole my teacher's panties." Um,
So I mean, I think the problem that Nier is having is that the whole like I stole my teacher's panties thing fits with the former human thing, but the transition is too much. The lack of transition, right? The lack thereof.
yeah, I mean, it feels like sometimes like the internal monologue of Sugita is like a different character from the main character. Like the
Right.
main
Exactly.
character is trying to progress forward and become like, you know, at least somewhat of a better person. Um,
Mhm.
but then he has these moments where it's like, yeah, but what if I like manipulate my family in order to like do this one thing that like would benefit me? You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and I don't know. Like sometimes I get it. Like there's one part where um it's like revealed that the MC's dad was cheating on the mom with the maid, and like the maid gets pregnant. Um and so the mom is wondering like, you know, should we kick the maid out because like the family's like fucked up now. Um and so the main character goes like he literally lies, and he says that he heard the dad like trying to blackmail the maid in order to sleep with her. And like he twists that in a way to like, basically ask the mom to like let the maid stay. Um,
Right.
and like the reason he does that, or like the reasoning that like he gives, is that like he doesn't really think like that the maid like deserves to be kicked out and like fucking die with this 1 month old baby immediately after childbirth. Um, but like the way he does it, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna throw my dad under the bus and possibly get him like fucking kicked out of the house in order to do this." Like, I don't know, it's sort of scummy, but like I don't know. It feels it like just that moment. It felt really weird when it was like doing this time skippy stuff where it's like, yeah, things are going good. I'm sort of uh, you know, blooming from what I used to be like as a 40-year-old like loser who is like constantly leeching off of people, and like I'm actually developing friendships and shit in
Mhm.
this new life. And then immediately he's like, yeah, but like I'm gonna lie about my dad fucking blackmailing this one um to my family. I don't know, some of the moments it feels like the 40-year-old like sort of pulls back on the character development of the MC.
Because it's going a little bit too ham. I mean, it should do some of that again because it's the character lore, but it's like it's going too ham.
Yeah. Um, but I mean, overall, I think it is a solid package. There are moments here and there where it's like, he does these things where it's like, bro, like you should be beyond this at this point. But uh, I think overall, I do like the progression of what the MC is like going towards. Um, if he continues if it continues to do this thing where it's like, yeah, I'm like growing as a person, but also I'm gonna try to like steal random people's panties and like grope them at the same time. It's like I don't know. It feels like um sacrifice development for like a gag. Oh.
Right, right. Yeah,
See,
it's very
the
important.
thing is about this series is that I hear people on the internet don't seem to realize that most of the isekai they watch, the characters, the main character himself, pretty bland and doesn't have that much of good character development over the course of the entire series. They basically stay the same. Like, oh, my morals are this, and this is what I do, and I'll never change, and this is who I am, and it's a concept throughout the series. But in this one, everyone knows that the main character is a piece of shit. It's like, of course it is. From day one, they're a piece of shit. Scum of society and whatnot. And with some of the stuff they're doing is unquestionably not forgivable. Like when he missed his wedding because, or not wedding, he missed the funeral because he was doing something else. You know what I'm talking about. Then you see him grow as a character. Well, I mean, and then you see this type of series where the main character grows out of his shell, and it's like, I'm getting better at this. I know I was a piece of shit, but at least I'm trying to better myself. And people are still don't see past that point. They're what are they saying? They're saying like, oh, this series is just as bad as Redo of Healer. And I'm like, have you even
What?
take
No, I mean I like
Redo
I like
Healer is not a
the
real series.
I like the character beats with the
Yeah, yeah.
MC. Like
Yeah.
the moment where like the the scene where like he's genuinely afraid to like leave the house, and his teacher is like, "What are you, like, scared of the horse?" And he's like, "No, that's not it." And like the teacher just like sort of throws him on the horse, and he's like, "It's okay, like you're with me." And then like as he leaves, like he realizes, there's nothing to be afraid of, and then he sort of like goes, like I don't need to worry about like people bullying me and shit anymore. Like I think that's a good
Yeah,
character moment.
yeah, that's good character development, and that's what a main character should be experiencing in a very good show. But most people that I've seen that rate the show negatively are just saying that, oh, he's a pedophile and whatnot. He likes stealing women penny. He's a pervert. I don't
Well,
like
I
this
mean,
series at all. And
the
I'm like, okay, really? You taught and then these are the same people who are like, oh, what is it? Isekai Smartphone is a good series because the main character is like this, or what else? Or Sao's so cool because Kirito's super cool, and I'm like, okay, but
I
no
mean,
one's talking about Excel World where the main character is a fat piggy, but he turns out to be cool in the end. You don't like really good character development. You just want your
well, I wouldn't call
by the
Excel
book
World good character
isekai,
development,
and I'm
but
like, okay, man, whatever.
I wouldn't call Excel World really good character development. But the point, I mean, the
And
same
then
people who are
they compare it to Redo Healer, where Kieru's so he he's what he's the scum of the earth. He's a bad guy, but man, I want to see him go through the end with it. You call Kiaru a character with good character development, and I'm like, you need to get your eyes checked and your definition of good character reevaluated because Kiaru is not a good character. Redo of Healer, like if you're comparing Redo of Healer to this, then I don't know, man.
I wouldn't
can't trust your anime opinion.
I wouldn't compare Redo of Healer to anything, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, going along with your point, the same people who say stuff like or focus too much on the whole like what is it the main character is a pedophile or whatever the fuck is are honestly the same people who are like very worked up over the fact that maybe, for instance, in like Rising of the Shield Hero, right? They're like, can't I can't believe he like called her, all these names and called the princess all these names and did all these things to her, or like, what is it in like Arifureta? They're like, can't believe he just like really.
Or like in Overlord, where people are like, "Whoa, wait, Ainz is the bad guy? I can't believe he did that to these group of adventurers." And I'm like, "Really?
Yeah, I mean, again,
Really?"
these sort of people are very caught up. A kind way of putting it, rather, would be they're very caught up on surface level
They're
details.
they're
So
they're they're trying to project themselves too much as this character that
that
never do wrong, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, don't do that."
is very unfortunate. But yeah, those sorts of people, obviously, we all have our very not so positive opinions on. But regardless of that, Nier, any last words on Mushoku Tensei?
I think it's a good show.
Pretty okay show.
It's pretty alright. Yeah. Visually, I think it's probably one of the best showings. Like for like just general animation of the season.
Mhm.
It's very nice. Uh, it's got a really cozy aesthetic. Um, you know, the world building is pretty okay. And yeah, it's just an overall solid package. I think you should check it out.
Okay, so again, one of the bigger isekai names out there, period, I would say. So
This is the remember. This is the granddaddy of all isekai. Ha 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 ha.
it's definitely one of the I want to say progenitors in a sense. So if you do like, isekai, if you do like a slower paced stuff, if you do like one that's a little bit more well set, I would say, is that the vocab I want to use? I guess.
Well
Then please
written.
check it out. Yeah, not lazy, not too lazy, but anyways, please just check it out. And with that, we are done. Oh, thank you very much again, Nier, for helping cover Mushoku Tensei. And with that, we are done likely with the winter season. So um, it's unfortunate if we couldn't cover one of the series that maybe you guys won. But I think the only ones we had left were like more Game Boy stuff and like Gekidala and stuff like that. So I
Yeah,
think not
Spire's
that.
really broken up.
Yeah, I'm in tears. But yeah, we're gonna quickly go through the news. I have a decent amount of news this time around, so I'm just gonna go through them as quickly as possible, get some brief comments, so on and so forth. Uh, First off, quickly, Shonen Jump dips below 1.5 million in print circulation. So this was, a long time coming. Print manga has been going down like since the past, I want to say 1.5 decades at least, right? So the JMPA, the Japan Magazine Publishers Association, revealed on Friday that the print circulation of Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump, the biggest manga probably magazine, fell to 1.475 million during the period of October to December 2020. Obviously, for obvious reasons, COVID, production issues, obviously
Shonen Jump even
digitalization.
give like Yu-Gi-Oh cards in their
They
giant mangas anymore?
they probably don't give out much omake
Because
these days.
I know you had to pre-order them and it comes in the mail, and I'm like, I can't just walk to the local store and buy it. Nah.
Yeah. Anyways, so obviously this is some pretty obvious news. Fortunate, it is what it is. However, on the other hand, the manga market, and this is just general manga market, hits record 612.6 billion yen in 2020. So this is obviously, you know,
I wonder who is responsible.
yeah, the report, blah, 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 the report contributed to the rise in sales to the strong sales of Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, and other hits, stating that video streaming services are contributing to the longevity of some titles. Obviously, as we've said for a long, long time, or I don't know, I mean, this is not even what we've been saying. It's what it is. But anime are essentially promotion materials for manga and visual novels and so on. Obviously, they've been helping. The report also pointed to "quote-unquote" COVID-19 fatigue, causing a possible rise in popularity of parallel world or isekai stuff. I don't think that's it. I think people
I
are
think-
just reading manga at home. I don't know about
Yeah,
this.
I think people just have more time to read manga.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't think it's like creating a rise in like certain genres.
Yeah, and also it helps. I think I don't know why the report didn't say it, but I think the obvious thing is the exponential rise in digitalization, streaming, reading manga online, right? Especially all the services they have in Japan, just like Netflix, over in the US, manga services are going around freaking reading stuff, going inside of reading stuff, just not doing outdoor stuff because of freaking COVID and reading manga, right?
Yeah.
Duh. It's not rocket science. So again, pretty good. Hopefully all this money that they make maybe can help in terms of unloosening this global bottleneck, especially with the success of Demon Slayer.
No.
No, sorry, it just has to go to the Demon Slayer people.
Yeah.
Anyways, the next one is just something that I want to point out. Okay, look. So Seven Seas Entertainment announced on Saturday. Seven Seas Entertainment being one of the bigger or one of the main English localization companies of manga, light novels, whatever. Announced on Saturday that it has licensed story writer Hiratori Ko and Yamada Jta's JK Haru, JK being Joshikose or high school girl. Joshikose Haru is a sex worker in another world. JK Haru wa isekai de shoufu ni natta manga based on Hiratori and artist Shimano's novels of the same name. Blah blah blah. The girl gets truck murdered into a fantasy world that treats women even worse than our world does. But a girl's got to do what she can to make cash for survival. And Haru, she intends to thrive. I just want to say, please do not turn this into an anime. Oh my god. Just no more guinea pigs, okay? After what is it, Otherworld, what was it that? The Otherworld, like fucking what was that series? What was the first series? What was the series that got the series that got removed from Funimation? Or whatever.
The
reviews?
Interspecies reviewers.
Yeah,
Interspecies reviewers.
After interspecies reviewers, after redo of Healer, no more of these series, okay? No more. It's not me. It's just like these don't provide value. It's all we know what it is. Don't do it. Don't do these series, okay?
Well, I mean, it's a topic that unless you're about to give us some like fucking insight into like the real world,
The real isekai prostitute world, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's like,
I mean,
bro.
I read this, and let me tell you, I learned a lot about the sex worker industry and in isekai from this.
Anyways,
Is this? I forget.
Yeah.
Is this the one? Is this the one that was written by a prostitute?
What? It is?
There is a series that was actually written by a prostitute.
Was it?
But I don't know.
Yeah,
if it was this
no. That was a different one. Wasn't that the one where they write about her? She writes about like sort of a dramatized biography almost of herself because it's
Yeah.
like she writes about her getting abused by her father or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I think, no, that's different. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not that series. Okay, so then yeah.
No,
this
that
is
that series is
this
actually
not-
like
this
that
is-
series is actually a decent read. I would think because it's not really about like the sex work so much as it is like her sort of journey.
Yeah,
right?
that's
It's like
what I mean.
biography.
Like, I wanted to make sure this wasn't that. So it's just like, yeah, just go read that. Like,
This is just getting truck murder into sucking dicks in an isekai thing, which is I don't know about that.
Just,
Anyways,
well, as someone who's read
suck
both
dicks in an isekai. Hey, keep going, yeah.
as interspecies reviewers and this, let me tell you that this is more. This is a lot better than interspecies reviewers. That's for sure.
I don't think that's a high bar. I'm gonna say that's not a high bar. Would you guys agree?
Instead of a series where like, haha, these elves can only these what is it? These fairies can only fit this dude, and this elf is huge. This is a series is more like I gotta do what I can to survive in an isekai because I got jack nothing. Let me use my feminine wiles and what I can do in order to survive. I guess geishas. I guess you can make equivalent. What's the word? Compare her to being a geisha, I guess, instead of a sex worker. But well, whatever. I'll still watch it.
Okay.
I just hope Funimation doesn't pick it up and is like, we're sorry, we're gonna have to not dub this anymore.
Yeah,
Just realize what this series is.
It's gonna be a shitstorm.
wait a minute. There's sex work in this? Hold on.
There's sex in this? Anyways, next, we do have to move on. something not just as not good. Texas-based anime streaming service High Dive posted an apology on Twitter on Friday for an internet meme and shared on Twitter on Thursday referencing the Akame ga Kill anime and the winter storm disaster in Texas.
Oh boy,
She clarified that
night raid.
the company and its staff have faced the situation firsthand, being situated in Texas, and did not intend to "quote unquote" belittle the situation. Yeah, don't meme about ice storms where people are close to dying. That until like maybe after
Oh, I
a
saw that.
while.
Nice.
Okay, let's not. Don't do that shit.
Hey man, S Death was pretty cool.
Anyway, don't do that shit. Next, this is just something I like. Otacorp president Brooke Zerlot announced in a newsletter on Saturday that the organization has raised more than $34,000 in donations to support its Otakon anime convention. Convention is still accepting donations through its store and through PayPal. Blah blah. Revealing that it's continuing to. So it's like they say, we use the proceeds from each year to plan the next Otakon and make sure we survive until then. So without the income from Otakon 2020 and the early pre-registrations we would normally see at this time of year, we are in a very precarious position. Put simply, in the next few months, we will have to make a decision to continue planning for Otakon 2021, potentially close our doors forever. What I don't get, it's like, I mean, I get it, but it's like, it's such a like the thing is, it's like, it's one thing to have part of your profits be towards the next event, right? But to be like, if we don't have enough money from the previous thing into the next one, right? Yeah, the thing that
Yeah, let's just
upsets
say
me.
I've seen this scenario
Wait.
before, and it's
the
bad.
thing. The thing that upsets me is that this is clearly
I
just
may
like
have even experienced it firsthand.
it's
not
essentially
good.
just like a threat, right? And it's like they're just giving people have to give them money for a potential promise for a future event, right? That's essentially what it is,
I mean,
right? Let's
that's
not
bad. Also, I mean, it's also bad is this could easily be true, and that's also really bad. Like,
yeah, I mean, whether
But how are they running out of money if they literally didn't even hold an event? Like they knew an
no,
event.
their
They knew an event
model, their
wasn't going
literal
to happen.
model is they're using all the money from the previous like a lot of the money from the previous event to pay for the next event or some shit like that. But it's a very
So
like
where did
retroactive
the money from the last one go?
if
Yes.
I had to guess,
from the year before.
either admins or what's it called? Just like people who they have on payroll or something, or they pocketed it, or some
thing is, it's
sick
just
ass bonus checks.
I mean, they had to have pocketed it, right? Because like,
Yeah,
there's no way they're out here like planning and putting money into an event during a fucking pandemic, and they can't make the excuse of being like, oh well, we put money into this and then it got canceled, because you'd be fucking insane to plan something with what's been going on for the past year.
well, they haven't. I don't think they've invested the money yet. They have like a fund, but the thing is, their model in itself is already just like if so much of if literally the existence of your event depends so much on major funds from previous events, right? It's just like you're not. It's like how are we, especially since these events can be canceled pretty easily, right? It's not because they're huge conventions, right? So it's like if something again, not even just like a pandemic, right? But it's like say like food poisoning or like some sort of regulation or whatever like that happens, right? Sort of regulatory stuff. Boom, it gets shut down, right? It's not a matter of if when these sorts of conventions, right? So knowing that these sorts of conventions being canceled and so on is the case, the fact that they don't have some sort of mitigation strategy or rainy day fund or something like that, and this sort of thing is very sort of it's troubling. Anyways, that's that. And last piece of, I guess, organization/company news. Bandai Namco Holdings announced on Monday that it will withdraw from the amusement facilities business, specifically owning and operating arcades and similar entertainment centers in North America. The company's board of directors decided on Friday, February 19th, that it was transfer the businesses and related fixed assets of 34 directly owned locations, one large directly owned location, and 760 revenue shared locations, 3 other companies on March 31st, the end of the fiscal year. Bandai Namco did not name 3 companies, but it stated that the companies have no capital, personal, or transactional relationship with the company and are not related parties. Well, so they're just like, fucking A, we're already having problems in Japan over here. So that's that. Another funny piece of on the mobile game front, just a funny piece of information, because I don't think I've seen this sort of news before on a mobile game. The official website for Library Entertainment's Q idle training smartphone game announced on Saturday that the game will temporarily end service on April 30th. So the staff put every effort to improve the game. The staff said they cannot state when the app will restart service. I've never heard of this before in a mobile game.
Wow.
I don't know if anybody like chat or anybody can like give me an example of precedent, but I've heard what is it? People being like, maintenance, right? Obviously, maintenance like here and there, patches, putting in patches, updates, whatever. But I've never heard of how bad is the game.
I don't know, man. It's got to be pretty bad for them.
How
to be
bad is
like,
the game?
Yeah,
They're
we,
like, we're
we
gonna
need
shut
to
down the
we
game.
need to shut this down for
You
a
know-
little bit.
Excuse me, it's called FF14.
But FF4, I mean FF14 1.0 like straight up ended. They were like, yeah, we're done. Like this is over.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a little bit of fucked up news. A little bit on the manga front, or I guess adaptation front. Kadokawa announced on Sunday that Kadokawa Amarin Company Limited, hub of Harmony Entertainment, and Hollywood Thailand are producing an official Thai live-action series adaptation of Tai Shizao and AKA's Love Stage Boys Love manga. So this is a for those of you who don't know, this is a Love Boys BL manga based around like this one like super cool ikemen dude and this other person who's like so effeminate or whatever enough to be to be able to cosplay as like a bride and like get away with it or some shit like that. And essentially it's like cross-dressing and feminization or whatever. And it's the first series that I've actually heard of getting a live action in Thailand. Thailand being known for one of the things that it's known for is having a prolific
Thai
number
food.
that too, prolific number of how do I say this here? Transgender or ladyboys kind of thing going on there.
Sure.
Femboys?
Yes.
Like a femboys? Like a Stolfo?
Yeah, so it's how fitting, I guess I would say, that it gets Jesus Christ out of
Wow,
all this here.
how can you say that in 2021?
I apologize. Next piece of news. Entertainment website Deadline reported on Thursday that Amazon Studios is developing a live-action film adaptation of Kota Hirono's Hellsing manga with their suddenly everybody, like all the YouTube manga influencers in North America, all cried out in shallow joy. And Kota Hirono's Hellsing manga with Derek Kolstad, who is the franchise writer for John Wick, Marvel's Falcon, and the Winter Soldier executive producer, on board as screenwriter. So
Doesn't he have a new movie coming up? There was a not John Wick movie, but basically the same thing.
I forget. I think I'm not sure actually, but yeah. So yeah, all the YouTube, manga, whatever influencers are screaming out in joy across the planet right now. But It is Hellsing. I mean, the issue is, I think Hellsing would probably be something decent to work as. Do you guys think it'll be decent to work as live action? I mean,
I don't. I don't.
Not
I don't
really.
at all. I think Hellsing is too. It's too grand. Like it's too. It's too
very big.
like it's too like I don't know. It's too fantastic. You know, like you have like some of the most like memorable moments of Hellsing are like close to the end, where the power levels are like so fucking beyond like the fact that there's like Nazi zombie like vampire armies involved in the story. Like the
Mhm.
fact that there's a literal army of vampire Nazis that is invading fucking Britain is like irrelevant at the point of the story to where like some of the most like crazy stuff is happening. Um so unless they completely rewrite it to just be like really boring like vampire hunting like side stories, like they can't really adapt the core story of Hellsing because
How would it
otherwise it's just going to be like CG monstrosities all over the place.
how would it be any different from the other Van Helsing movies if they did that? Like, oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I saw that one with Hugh Jackman. It was alright.
I think it's too I don't think it'll work. I think it's probably gonna. I don't know. It's like the live action Akira that's been in the works for the past like fucking 3 decades. Um, I think it's just not gonna work.
Okay. Yes.
It might be cool, if they just take it like a grounded approach, but it won't be Hellsing. Um,
Yeah, I will love my CGI and Nazi vampire army strolling into England. Just hire all the what is it? All the Uruk-hai warriors from the Lord of the Rings series. You know that most of them were women.
Alright. Anyways, we'll see how that ends up. Quickly running through some award stuff. First, Watanabe Foundation for Music and Culture of the Watanabe Production Company announced on Tuesday that it is presenting Aniplex president and producer Iwakami Atsuhiro with its Shin Watanabe Award. Iwakami has been involved in many of Aniplex productions, like Demon Slayer, the movie Mugen Train. It's not because okay. Anyways, he
Why
was
do you
also
think it's called Mugen Train?
yeah. Um, yeah, that's true. He was also involved in recent Fate Grand Order tie-in anime stuff. He composed music for anime like Crash of the Stars, Banner of the Stars, Fist of the North Star, Infinite Rivius, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Sushi Ninja, and In the Beginning, The Bible Stories. He and his son also produced Symphonic Suite Final Fantasy, first orchestral Final Fantasy music CD for game music composer Nobuo Uematsu. Please congratulate him. Oh yeah, sorry. Obviously, the posthumous award, by the way, because he did pass away at 83 years old on June 2020. Congratulations. Next, the Japanese government's Agency for Cultural Affairs announced the winners of the 2020 Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology Fine Arts Recommendation Awards on Wednesday. Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, so the infamous series in the past couple of seasons, Eizouken ni wa te o dasuna. Director Masaki Yuasa Masaki, won the Cabinet Minister Award in the Media Fine Arts category, while Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba manga creator Gotoge Koyoharu won the Newcomer Award in the Media Fine Arts category. Obviously, no need to explain why both of them have won what they've won.
Bless Yuasa deserves every fucking just everything.
Double thumbs up.
He's
Double
fucking
thumbs up.
amazing.
Yeah. And last piece of news, so the organizers of the 15th Annual Seiyuu Awards announced the winners on Saturday. So the winners include Best Lead Actor Award. Kenjiro Suda Kenjiro. By the way, I want to say my 2020 4PA Awards Best Voice Actor went to Suda Kenjiro. Just predicting the future. Let's go. We're here.
He's kind of good.
He's a decent voice actor, yeah. And
he's all right.
He did a decent amount of roles in 2022. Yeah, he did some roles, one or two. Lead actress goes to Ishikawa Yui, also obviously very prolific stuff, and it's a long time coming. I think Ishikawa Yui has been a very good voice actor, or actress, but obviously she's been overshadowed by a lot of the other bigger names, just because that voice actor industry is so competitive.
Yeah.
Supporting actor goes to Quest Takehito, not a surprise there, and Shimazaki Nobunaga there. Sorry, Shimazaki Nobunaga. Best supporting actresses: Uena Reina, Ueshama, yes, everything goes. And Kito Akari, obviously also not a surprise. These are all like names that it's like, if you know anything about Seiyu, like they should be no surprise. New actors: Ito Masahiro, I think I covered, maybe, I don't know. Kobayashi Chiaki and Tsuchiya Shimba. Best new actresses. Let's see. Aira Rin, Ichinose Kana. Did I cover her? No, I think I covered Sugiyama Riho, actually. Ichinose Kana, Sugiyama Riho, Fujiwara Natsumi, and Waki Azumi. Waki Azumi, probably the most famous out of the sort of newcomers, quote unquote, here. Singing award, blah, blah, blah. Personality award. Award for a voice actor or actress who has done notable work in radio, web video, or TV as a personality, whether under their own name or characters. Yasumoto Hiroki, yep. I'm not surprised at all. Foreign film / live action show award, Yamaji Kazuhiro and Komiya Kazue. Kids or family award selected by his children, Nakagawa Rie, probably I forget what his show does. Influence award. Wait a minute. Doesn't Koiwai, isn't all she did is like, she just opened up her YouTube channel and then she just, like, half of her stuff is just ASMR, isn't it? Isn't that all she does on her YouTube channel? Why did she get the influence award? What the fuck?
Good enough for me, man.
Shouldn't it be Natsuki Harae? Because Natsuki Harae actually has like 100K plus like YouTube channel or whatever.
Shut up, dude.
Anyways, most MVS, most valuable Seiyu award, Shimonohiro. Zero surprises. Merit award or for the Seiyu have contributed to many genres, including 4 works over the years: Masuyama Eiko, Tsukayama Masane. Special honor award: Demon Slayer, Kinemetsu no Yaiba. Surprise. Blah, 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 so forth. Kei Tomiyama award, Seki Toshiko, and Takahashi Kazuo award, Sakakibara Yoshiko. And both of these are just like all-rounder sort of voice actresses and voice actors. So congratulations to all of them. Good stuff. Suda Kenjiro for proving me right. Next and just 2 people awards before we wrap up. Sorry for the long people news here, or long news. We've just got a burst of news in like a long while, so everything kind of came out at the last moment, I guess. First off, voice actress Ogata Megumi revealed on Twitter that she recently had emergency surgery for recurrence of a herniated disc. So again, please wish her speedy recovery. She obviously did Kurama in Yu Yu Hakusho. She does Shinji Ikari, Evangelion, Sailor Uranus, Sailor Moon, all these pretty big roles. So again, please wish her a speedy recovery. And the talent agency Arts Vision announced on Tuesday that voice actress Sugaya Masako passed away on February 25th while undergoing medical treatment for an unspecified illness at the age of 83. She did stuff like Remy and Nobody's Boy Remy, Mary Ingalls and Laura, Little Girl on the Prairie, Chappie and Space Boy Soran, Ai Kawamaki and the classic sports anime Aim for the Best, or Eiso Nerae, very famous series in Japan.
Yep.
Kitsune Urusei Yatsura, and Mitsuba Kenichi in Ninja Hattori. So again, please wish her family and friends condolences. All right. Let's go on quickly through our callouts and shoutouts and callouts. Everybody here gets 1 shout out and 1 callout each. Shoutout is one thing that you want to get 5 out of 5. Praise to the heavens. It can be any one person, place, or thing. And callout is the exact opposite. Something that you hate, 0 out of 10, -1 out of 10. And it can be, again, any one person, place, or thing. And I will go first, I guess. First, my call out, obviously, or my call out honestly goes to this diet I'm having. It's like it's really just draining the life out of me right now. It's on a 700 something 800 ish like calorie deficit. And it's not making me feel pleasant. So obviously, call outs to that. Shout outs to Fluffy, snow themed visual novels. I don't know. I'm just a sucker, man. I just love like again. I I've said this before, but I'm literally the type where it's like I enjoy listening to Christmas carols or like on repeat on the radio. It's a bad thing, I know, but I do enjoy it. It's just like Christmas, winter stuff, whatever. It's great. So, shout outs to that. Nier.
Um, I wonder. Shoutouts to I don't know. Shoutouts to the Evangelion movie getting a release date again. Hopefully this one actually happens. That would be cool. Callouts, shit, man. A lot of fucking dumb shit happening. Um, I don't want to call out real world shit. So, I'm gonna call out Arc System Works again. Because they delayed, or they pushed back the release of Guilty Gear Strive. And the excuse they gave was like fixing the functionality of like the lobbies or some shit. When realistically, like that's definitely not why they delayed it. They delayed it because the game is like a broken piece of shit that's full of glitches where like characters can fly off into space and like wave dash across the screen. It's like really simple inputs. And you know, I really don't see like what they can even do to the lobbies to make them more functional other than like completely gutting them and replacing them with something else. Uh, yeah, kind of a shit show. But you know, I guess par for the course for Arc System Works.
Yeah. Very wrong. Dark.
She. Fuck, there was absolutely something I was gonna like call out. I think Crunchyroll for. Oh yeah, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards were fucking stupid. Granted, like we would have
I was
known that,
expecting them
but
to be. Yeah, I was expecting them to be completely sensible. Yes.
well, you know. So yeah, they just had some really dumb shit on there. They were like, "Oh, best antagonist," and it was Sukuna from fucking Jujutsu Kaisen, which at the time, I mean, even to this day, Sukuna's been in like 4 episodes. Like, and he's not even really an antagonist. Kind of, but not that. He hasn't really done anything.
Again, I definitely expected so much from Crunchyroll Awards.
Also, I think they gave best like OPs and EDs to like season 1 of Beastars,
Yeah, they did,
which is like that doesn't make any sense.
which didn't come out
the f-
last year.
What the f-
Came out years ago. Like,
Yeah.
shit came out in like 2018. So maybe it just got posted on Crunchyroll or something, but I didn't know. I don't know if that's the case.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm pretty sure that's not.
I'm pretty sure Netflix still has streaming rights to Beastars. So
Yeah. I don't know if like Crunchyroll somehow picked it up and like that's why they're doing it, but either way, it's pretty insane.
So, sorry, you did your shoutouts already, right? So,
Oh yeah, my call out is gonna be to on a Genshin because they had their recent live stream and they're like, yeah, 1.4, it's fucking all this stuff about Mondstadt, the first area, and like, haha, we're doing a rerun of Venti and Tartaglia's banners. Also, like, no Venti costumes still. Literally the prime time to do it. But, you know, still no fucking costumes at all.
Okay, and last but not least, Toast.
That
Shout out to, I don't know, that Honolulu episode was pretty good. Pretty good.
And your call out?
And that Asanagi art was, it's like you combine the best ship girl in Azure Lane with one of the best artists around, and I'm like, how did you know? It's like
Wait,
you
did you
made this
call
episode just
Asanagi
for
one of
me.
the best artists around? Wait a minute.
How did you know? It's like this episode
hearing
was
this, Dan?
tailored basically for me.
I choose not to. I do not hear it.
I don't know what. I mean, regardless of theme, I wouldn't say Asanagi is one of the best artists out there, even like in terms of like.
How did you know my specific tastes were so
okay.
in sync? It's like,
Okay.
well, yeah. So shout out to those two. Call out is to Dremma 985. I hate that guy.
Anyway.
How can you not know the difference between archaeology and geology? Did you see the stream? It said archaeology. You know, that's digging at bones, but then he comes out here with rocks. And I'm like, 50K Andy over here wasted everyone's time in the, was he in the Nevada desert? I think it was the Nevada desert. But yeah, just check out that stream. That goddamn faker.
Anyways, thank you, Toast, for the shout out and call out. And with that, we are done with our. I do want to say our last winter series review. It most likely is because it is pretty much every anime is around episode 9. So hopefully, we'll be able to do a preview episode and then schedule our next podcast so it properly hits somewhere around to the end of Anime March 8th. We'll be able to hit our stride properly coming into early April 3rd, 4th. That's around when all pretty much the next season's series release. So we can so hopefully we can time this properly. Cross our fingers. But if it doesn't, just shout at me, be like, you fucked up the schedule, so blah blah blah. I get that from time to time when the schedules don't line up, so don't mind it. But we'll be keeping you guys updated on what our schedule is, and we're going to be doing our preview pretty shortly, probably again next episode. Again, one of our more exciting episodes. Yay, nay. And yeah, if you like what we do, we stream our recording of the podcast every other Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. That's with the number 4. So follow us here. We have our podcast clipped and highlighted in neat format, so you can check us out here. Check us out on YouTube as well, whichever format that you like. 4PlayerAnimecast is our YouTube channel. Check out our social media, obviously, for updates, information, so much more on Facebook, 4PlayerAnimecast, and on Twitter, handle at 4PPAnime. It's all with the numeral 4 for the latest and greatest in Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. And yeah, we'll see you next time.